What is knowing? I recently had a commenter challenge me on the notion of knowing. And in an attempt to explain it, I don't think I got there with this person. Because knowing is a fallacy. We have innumerable Gnostic texts, theosophical texts, even biochemical anatomy, physiology, just a plethora of philosophical works, etc. I don't even know how many books there are written about the world. And in terms of knowing within ourselves of a thing, of what is, just intuitively, we know not. Even the most tapped in of us know not, because there is nothing to know except knowing that everything is a concept. Everything is part of the illusion. Everything that we've ever experienced, anything that we will ever experience, is nothing more than the illusion. The I am state of being is the I, subject, and the am, object, right? I am, or verb tense, of doing something, of being tangible in some way. That is not knowing. That is not the absolute truth of ourselves. And so the challenge becomes, even having a conversation with someone to explain it is futile, because it isn't something explainable. There are no words to point directly to something that is an experience within. And so in this way, I've only attempted to point towards something using the concepts, words, ideas, experiences that I've had to paint a picture, an image of the thing that is, the truth that is, which can't be seen because it is unborn and it is part of the unbegotten. And in saying that can be extremely confusing, especially if we are caught up in the illusion of being something. If we're caught up in the outward manifested world to the degree that we think, therefore we are lost. We're still confused. To think is to be a part of the conceptual framework. And we all do it because we are here in duality. But this thinking, conceptualizing, this intellect is a fabrication. It is not the real. So any knowledge that we get, even if it's a channeled message, where is that message coming from as a channel? It is also illusion. It is maybe a more advanced species speaking through your antenna, through your mind, through your mouth as you for now. But it's also an illusion. It is also a part of the dream. It is not it. Okay. And so for me, the challenge of that is to attempt to work it through. So how can I give you analogies that work? An analogy would be the snow. As soon as it snows, you see the white, the crisp. It gets cold. It's solid and it's quiet once it stops drifting. And it seems so real. And then it starts to melt, revealing what's underneath, which is the ground. And now, this analogy is not perfect because we know everything we see with these eyes is the illusion. It is Maya. It is Light and shadow, just like a great makeup artist can make someone have contour and make their cheekbones look raised, their nose look narrower or wider. The angle of light, all of it, all of the magician's trick to this place is illusion. It is not real. Now, what is real about the illusion, because there is a reality to the illusion, that is our experience of it. It is what we learn of it. It is whatever we want it to be. So going back to the snow. So this is the closest I can get to explaining the feeling of the experience of wholeness, or the supreme being in active mode. Activating the supreme being feels like fresh snow. Or if you ever been to Alaska or Washington or somewhere frigid cold, it is like that. Just stillness, dampness, an echo chamber. It's just doing absolutely nothing. The mirror to that is being in pitch black darkness, maybe in one of those tanks, those sensory deprivation tanks. Right there, this is still illusion, but it's closer to all that is within you. So when we go back to those words that people love to use, I am, and I hate to harp on that because I'm done with that portion. But someone came to me and they had a whole nother perspective, so I want to clarify it again, because this is a stumbling block for us. And I don't teach my family or people on the street or anybody I know personally, because they need to come to me with a question, because otherwise I'm intruding upon them. So if you have this video in front of you, it is because you have a question or because you needed clarity about this for yourself, or a pointer, literally just a pointer. Because when you look at I am, you can say, okay, let me ask some questions then. Where did this I come from? If I am woman being the noun, the pronoun, or the entity itself, for this example, where did I come from? If you're looking at an I, you can't look at I. You can't see self like that. Then where is the am? Where did that come from? Who's looking at that? And woman. Who is looking at woman? Now I can tell you, the I am is looking at the womanhood. My ego being is looking at me as a woman. But who is this I am? Who is looking at the woman? It's my ego. My entity, my avatar is looking at whatever I am, quote unquote woman, quote unquote mother, quote unquote reader, quote unquote content creator, quote unquote cook, quote unquote writer, quote unquote whatever this action is, adverb, verb, a noun, whatever goes in quotations after I am, my ego is projecting that, is becoming that, because I said so. But who am I? But a fabrication. My ego is a fabricated being from who? From where? From the supreme being within. The resting state of myself. The real. The unborn. The that which doesn't change. The changeless. Our changeless state is not I. I is a change. I is a step number 1. Am is a step number 2. And whatever goes in quotations, such as woman, mother, sister, daughter, cousin, brother, uncle, chef, president, philosopher. That's the next step. Number 3. And so let's do that again. So my supreme being is projecting my ego. It's also projecting the state in which my ego can do things here. It's all consciousness, right? But in being the real state of self, I do not worry over if it's real or if it's not, because neither of those states matter. In my awareness of being in my awareness as my supreme being state of being, everything else matters not, except for the experience of it. And so I'm looking from inward outward. My glimpse, my mind's eye is not my I state of personhood. That is not the I I'm seeing with. I'm seeing from the I of the Supreme. As I'm projecting this body, I'm projecting the state of being here in this world or wherever my screen of reality is going to be for the day. And what am I going to be? How am I going to, what label, what hat, what activity? Where's my explorer going? And all of those are like Russian dolls, a projection to another projection. Once we learn that we are the timeless observer or the timeless awareness in bliss, we can travel anywhere. We can be anything. We can flip through the realities and ride the waves of our consciousness as any sort of I am beingness we wish. And again, these are English words and lots of them. But to break it down into the easiest way to get it is to use the analogy of a movie, of watching a movie as pretending, okay, let's set it up. Me right now as ego, we're going to swap that as, that's the analogy. My analogy is me, the person watching a movie, me, the person, aka I'm going to say that is how the Supreme Being does it, right? Such that the Supreme Being sees our life as a movie, right? Okay, that's the setup. And also, as we watch the movie, you know how we watch a movie and we get into it, we actually become every single character we can resonate with, right? So then when we're watching this movie, we are invested emotionally in the play because the character has an antagonist, the character may be helpless, the character needs support, and so we fuel it with our own emotions. Everything that main character feels, says, does is our I am being in the play. So when the screen changes, we now have changed our screen to that new place for our awareness to do something with. And the play is being given to us in the setting of a movie, in watching a movie. That is the same as here. Here in this reality, if you aren't aware of yourself as being the projector, then you will see a screen that is given to you from the reality, from someone else's projector. You will be playing along in a movie in a role that you have gotten yourself tied up into, and you'll be pushed, pulled, and tugged any which way in direction because you're so busy being, I am this or that. They said I'm this or that, so I must be this or that. No. So going back to the movie analogy, right? If you've ever tried to play with this, watch a movie with zero investment emotionally. Have a neutral feeling for every single character, no matter what they're going through, and just observe the movie and look for symbols, look for clues, use it as a time to search for cues or tools. And then when you do that, you will see what the Supreme is. The Supreme is watching this movie. Its consciousness is flowing through it, but it is not being hurt by this reality. It is not being influenced by the I am being. It is not doing any of that. It is watching. It is projecting. And it is receiving data back from this life, just like we would receive data back from a movie. If we watched it for an academic exercise, perhaps like you have maybe from film school, and you have to watch a movie. We've had to do that, right? Watch a movie or watch like an after school special or something like that, right? And you have to look at it and take notes and know what all the themes were, the plot and all that kind of stuff. That is how we can work it back to change our perspective. Meaning we can project out or we can be projecting in. We can receive or we can give to the reality. And that's why I say, even in meditation, I'm always giving. I'm surrendering to the Supreme of me. And then just wipe that off. That's done, right? Next. Let's just enjoy our life. Let's enjoy this life. Being aware that we have so many places that we can go and visit, make strong memories. And let's travel time together. There's no need for conflict. There's no need for confusion. There's no need for argument. And if you like some argument, take it up with yourself in contemplation, not with me in the comments.